Hey everyone, this is Eitan from HandHeldSound, and I want to show you FlyingHand Percussion, our hand percussion sample library for Kontakt. We originally released FlyingHand in 2007, and we recently updated it with new features and a pretty serious overhaul, so if you own the original release, be sure to get this update. FlyingHand Percussion is a dedicated hand percussion library, and although the majority of the drums in it are considered ethnic, it's really not your typical world percussion tool. The concept was to explore depth and nuance from every single instrument and present you with a world of idiomatic articulation. It's really leaving you with complete thematic tools to write for percussion in any style you want. FHP includes hand-selected acoustic instruments and also several types of bonus sound design, metallic instruments, and electronic percussion. Most importantly, it's designed to be super easy to use when at the same time it offers superior realism. So there is plenty under the hood that helps make things very real sounding. We really sample things to the extreme here. FlyingHand Percussion features over 30,000 individual samples, 4 times round robin, up to 20 velocity layers, and up to 3 microphone positions. But what makes it special goes beyond the size and sample specs. So let's listen to something here. I have one of the instruments loaded. It's the Indian Nal, and I'll play it live right now from the keyboard. So no editing, no prep. Here we go. So the thing that stands out right away is the extended articulations. And just the sheer amount of different sounds you can make just from one instrument. Each drum fulfills a pretty exhaustive musical potential with a multitude of extended articulation techniques using both Western and Eastern playing styles, and also quite a bit of unconventional playing methods too. So you're not limited to just the typical ethnic or world type productions. There are so many extended techniques here that it's almost academic. You really get very versatile sound world to basically any kind of production. Now let's look at the djembe here, very popular African instrument, and let's see what it sounds like. So let's talk a little bit about the dynamic range here. We sampled an ultra-wide dynamic range of almost 50 dB, and we really wanted to make sure that the low to mid dynamic levels get proper attention. Capturing the soft level and playing any instrument softly is a lot harder than playing it loud, and ultimately that's what makes the instrument stand out. Another thing in FlyingHand Percussion is that the instruments are totally noiseless. We spend lots of time making sure that there is no perceivable noise, no matter how many samples you're stacking in your production. And we also make our own cables and use custom and modified equipment. And I think it's really something that gets translated to the samples, and you really hear it in the sound and the dynamic range. So let's see what instruments come with FlyingHand Percussion. Over here we have our core acoustic instrument list. So right from the top, we have Asian anklungs, which are Asian rattlers made out of bamboo and different kinds of wood. We have an African ashiko, bamboo shakers, an orchestral bass drum that we suspended from the floor and played with hands, and it's got lots of low end, lots of resonance. Bell sticks and bell tree, some wood blocks, a bongo cajon, which is just like regular bongos, but instead of having skin, it has thin plies of wood, so it's very articulate, very punchy. We have a collection of boom whackers, plastic bottles, some shakers, a clay drum, which is very similar to an udu, but with a lot thinner material, so it's got lots of high pitch, a lot of high pitch shifting effects, and it really complements the low and mid-range that other instruments produce. We have a set of congas, cowbells and cymbals, a djembe, 2 frame drums, a 16-inch and a 22-inch, and a couple of sound designy versions of the frame drum. We have a conjira drum, which is a really interesting drum. It's just like a tambourine, but it only has one jingle, and the technique is very unique, so you can get a lot of pitch shifting and a lot of rapid slaps and different types of articulations, and it's really, really complementing the nal and the djembe. We have the nal, we have pyru claves, we have a shaker, tam-tam, a set of timbales, and a triangle, and a trine, which is a unique spiral-like instrument that can produce a lot of different overtones, and it's very metallic and has a lot of sustain. And in addition to the core acoustic instruments, we have a lot of different types of experimental instruments, one of which is called the morphosis section, which includes a lot of electronic-based instruments, and you've got your typical bass drums, hi-hats, effects, snare drums, and so forth. And then we also have something we call mutants, which is, again, it's more in the effects category, but it includes drones and impacts and all kinds of sound that really complement the acoustic set. And last but not least, we have an example of a virtual ensemble that you can create with FlyingHand Percussion, because as much as we enjoy showing off the single instruments, FlyingHand Percussion really works well as a group, and the instruments really fit with each other, and you can create ensembles that are really easy to produce, because for the most part, we've tried to use similar articulations that are mapped cohesively between instruments, so you can play unison, stacks, and it's real easy to do. So this is an example that just shows you what's possible with ensemble modes. Alright, this is just a quick overview, so in the next videos, I will explore more of the articulations and playing styles and just how easy it is to quickly get started.